Cottage in Elmore. We've owned it for a few years. It was built in 1910. There's significant renovations to bring it up to scratch when we first bought it. Big issues were around the subfloor. So we had big termite issues that we'd inherited. We knew about that before we bought the home, and also a lot of significant issues with the floor and the subfloor, so ventilation. So one of the big undertakings we did when we first bought this place was to pull up all the floors and have all the termite issues treated. And in addition to that, there's a lot of subfloor structural issues, so we did a lot with the joists and bearers, and we also had to by hand excavate heap of soil from under the floorboards. In some of the rooms, it's only a small place, but in some of the rooms the floorboards were pretty much straight on the dirt, so you're obviously getting no ventilation. So that was one of the first things we rectified when we found the place. In addition to that, we've done a lot outside, adding a fence, whereas existing there was nothing, and there's also been a lot we've done in the garden as well. So we're really motivated by sustainable building and retrofitting for sustainability, and also looking to reduce our carbon footprint as much as possible. So the way we've manifested that is, when we first bought the place, one of the first things we did was to install a 6.6 kilowatt solar system, and we certainly don't regret that at all. And so we're very much enjoying the benefits that provides us here in sunny Elmore. In addition to that, the roof cavity, so up into the ceiling, there was no insulation at all. So that was one of the first things we did as well, is to insulate the ceiling. So we just did that ourselves, and so that's made a big difference in both winter and summer, because we were losing so much of our heat and our cooling up through the ceiling. Beyond that, we also source a lot of recovered materials. So all our flooring is second-hand, so it's come from being pulled out of existing buildings. So we source that in a place in Heathcote. I have a good relationship with a gentleman there, and so that's where all our hardwood flooring has come from. But even beyond that, our back door, put a whole new back door and jamb and everything on there. That door's the second-hand door, sourced from that same wreckage yard, and just sort of bring it back to life. So really motivated to try and reuse materials, both from the character point of view, but also the embodied energy that goes into those materials. But then there's also an economic thing as well, that we're saving money by using those recycled materials. So one big feature of this place has been what my partner Jess has done with the garden. So when we bought the place, the garden, well, there wasn't really a garden. We're lucky to have a lot of large established trees, but beyond that it was all bare grass, and that in and of itself isn't very attractive. So one of the first things was to remediate that. Firstly, bare grass obviously takes a lot of water to upkeep, but it doesn't provide any habitat for animals or insects, and so she's done a really fantastic job in addressing that. So what we wanted was to create the effect of a sort of colourful cottage garden that would be really drought proof or drought tolerant, highly drought tolerant, and wouldn't require a lot of water. So with the idea being that we're looking to conserve water. So a lot of drought hardy natives make up that mix, and in addition to some exotic species as well. So we've planted out grevilleas, aeromophilus and billy buttons, and then, as I said, some exotic species that are drought hardy, so geraniums, lavender, rosemary, for example. And then we also planted a lime and an orange just to give a bit of balance to the front yard. There was already an established pomegranate and a lemon tree. So this garden's really low water requirement. When we first planted them, we obviously were watering them through the summer, but now they're really established and sort of looking after themselves, which is great. So the plants we've chosen are providing flowers for pollinators and nectar for birds and some cover obviously for small birds and lizards. So the idea being to bring them to the garden. Out the back we've got plans to do more of that, and obviously working around some of our other plans to extend the home and that's looking to the future. So speaking of looking to the future, yes, we're looking to extend backwards into the backyard, which is essentially empty at the moment. So that will be a plan for the future. We also need to look at our heating and cooling arrangements. So at the moment we are on plug-in electric heaters still. The reason being that we're still playing a bit of musical chairs with some of our rooms in terms of what they'll become and in what state of renovation they're in. So at the moment we're still in that mode where we can't decide exactly on what things will be. So as a result, heating and cooling decisions are sort of a bit impacted by that. So there are open fires here, but they're more for just if you're entertaining, because obviously open fires are great when you've got people around, but in terms of an actual way to heat the home, they're incredibly inefficient. So we have them actually draft stopped. They're completely draft stopped up, and we'll just unstopper them if we're entertaining and we want to have the open fire. So that's another aspect, is draft proofing. So we've spent a lot of time draft proofing the home, looking to fix the windows and make them functional, but also reducing the penetration of drafts as much as possible. And so that's an ongoing thing, because parts of the home are still under renovation effectively, or in a certain sort of states of renovation. So we use zoning quite effectively when we're heating and cooling the home. And really over the summer we use a lot of passive cooling and fans. We have a pretty good tolerance for the heat, so we don't go too badly. We don't have any active cooling in the home. So we rely on sort of how we use it as users of the home. So we'll look for maximising cross ventilation at appropriate times. We've got shutters on all the windows that will shut up during the day if we anticipate, or rather leave them shut up in the morning through the heat of the day. And we've found that the double brick nature of the home really holds the cold from the previous night, and when you step inside you feel like it's pretty cool and pretty very tolerable. So that's without any active cooling at all. In winter it is very cold, and it's something that we've definitely worked on and made better than it was originally, but it is still a challenge to heat old homes like this, even with the retrofitting we have done. So other than the plug-in heater, we also use a lot of heated throws and heated blankets. We find sort of personal heating is more energy, rather a bit easier on the pocket, but the next step will be a split system. So just trying to think about how that will work with the rest of the home.